Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layout, and welcome back to day number 19 of March Madness. Today's page map sketch comes from January of 2022. I pulled out my Simple Stories Say Cheese Galaxy to document some photos that we took at Galaxy's Edge. I did pull out this kind of orange color paper. I'm not exactly sure. The color's like a really light orange. This particular color isn't in the collection, but I felt like it went really well with the collection, as well as it reminded me of the color of Galaxy Edge. If you have visited Galaxy Edge, you know that there's a lot of brown and orange in that area of the park. So I'm just going with it. For this black paper, I decided that I would cut off the top and bottom because I thought that that would give it a closer look, but I end up changing that black area a lot. Over on the far right hand side, just like the sketch calls for, I added a white tone-on-tone paper, and I also added the gray star paper to the bottom of the layout. I then pulled out this red paper and I was going to add a border to the edge of it. But once I got the border cut out and then cut out the strip, I didn't like the white accents on the strip, so I decided to just pull out a red colored cardstock. I picked up this paper pad from Michael's. They have these paper pads where it has like all different shades of one color, this one being red, but they have it for like every color of the rainbow. And I think it's a great investment if you're trying to like build up your cardstock because you can usually find them on sale. So I did recut my border in the red, and I definitely like that better without that white accent. So I added that to the top. Then I wanted to add a border strip to the right hand side of the layout like the sketch calls for, and I didn't find any other pattern paper that I wanted to use from the collection. So I decided to look through my blue cardstock. And when I'm looking through the blue cardstock, I try to use paper that only has a single sheet. So if I do have two sheets of it, I try not to use it for things like this, because I want to have it for my backgrounds if I'm going to be using it. And when I do purchase individual cardstocks, whether it's at Michael's or Joann's, I tend to purchase 3 or 4 depending on how much I like it. So if I really like it, I'll purchase 4. But if I'm like, oh, this is all right, I'll go ahead and purchase 3. That way I do have it for a background piece, but then I also have an extra piece to use for things like this. I thought my photos were getting lost, so I decided to mat all of them on white cardstock, except for the photo of Eli. I have no idea why I decided not to mat that one, but I do eventually go back and end up matting it. These photos are of us at Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood Studios. We are not Star Wars fans, so I go into that area of the park and have no idea what's going on. Like, I know the basics of the Stormtroopers and BB-8 and Baby Yoda, which I know that's not his name from Mandalorian. I can rattle off some Disney World facts, but not Star Wars facts. I've only seen Star Wars once, which I've been told that means that I haven't seen it at all, but it just doesn't interest me. As I'm matting down these photos, I had trimmed down the 3x4 photos just a little bit, and when I went to put down my 4x6, I realized that they weren't lining up like they were supposed to. I ended up having to pull it up and retrim it all. The white mat wasn't straight. There was all kinds of issues. And then, as you saw, Eli had brought me a piece of birthday cake. His birthday was earlier this month, and we always order decadent cakes from Publix. And this cake had a Ferrero Rocher vibe to it, like it actually had Ferrero Rocher candies on top, but the icing and the chocolate cake all had that Ferrero Rocher taste to it. It was so yummy. He always picks out really good cakes, and Publix has amazing cakes. It's a local grocery store to the south. I know we're in Florida and like Georgia, South Carolina. I'm not sure of North Carolina, but definitely in the south. Their bakery is the best. We always order our birthday cakes from there. So I finally got all of the photos matted, and then I'm going to start to put this layout together. I decided that I was going to adhere that white paper to the blue border. I thought that that was going to make it a little bit easier to try to get it down. And then this is where the fun begins with this black paper. I knew that it wasn't going to be a lot showing in the layout, so I thought, why not trim it up? And this is where it's always an issue with me. I do these things where I'm like, I'm going to save this paper. I don't know why, because it's not like I have a ton of pictures from Galaxy's Edge, so it's not like I need to be documenting a ton of layouts with this collection. But I think that is just who I am, and I am always going to try to save paper whenever possible. So I'm going to spend a significant amount of time piecing this together. So I go ahead and get the far right-hand side cut out, But then I decided that I needed to put the star paper down first. I also needed to ink up the edges. This is one of those layouts that I definitely struggled with. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we're not Star Wars fans. I definitely wanted to document this because we do get photos taken there, but it wasn't something that I was inspired by. It wasn't something that I was excited about documenting. It was more of one of those layouts that I feel like I just need to get done because we have the pictures, which is kind of sad because I don't feel that way with a lot of photos, especially my Disney photos. I have so many photos, but I definitely wanted to have these photos in my album. So I was able to get the black strip down on the far right hand side, as well as the thinner strip that's going to go across the top and the red border strip. And then I can get the photos down as well as that white paper over on the far right hand side, which it has some type of ship on it. I couldn't tell you what it is. Like, I couldn't even tell you like if it was a ship from the good people or the bad people or I have no idea. It's one of those things that I find very funny in regards to the fact that I don't know anything about Star Wars, since I do know so much about Disney. When Galaxy's Edge opened, I walked around there and was just like, yeah, I don't get it. I actually haven't even rode both of the rides in there because I just don't have the desire to wait in line. I have ridden one of the rides, but that was because there was a single rider line for that particular ride and I was able to get in it. But I rode it and I was like, yeah, I don't need to ride it again. I'm good. Because I had trimmed down the photos on the right-hand side, the left-hand side of the photo needed to be trimmed down as well, and I had already put it down on the white cardstock, so I did have to peel that up and add that back down. Then I'm going to try to figure out the left-hand side of the layout. This is where I'm like, I don't know why I haven't matted that photo, but I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to continue to work on paper piecing all of this together, which I left all of this in so that you guys could see that sometimes we just struggle with things. It's not always easy, even for content creators. We still have times where we struggle with layouts. I will tell you at this point, we're on day 19 and I am going into the mindset of being done with the daily layouts. This is the third time that I have done the layout a day for the entire month, and about 2/3 of the way through, which is about day 20, is when I'm like, I'm just done. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of doing all these layouts. I'm tired of being in my room all the time, which I do scrapbook a lot. But there's a big difference between wanting to be in my scrapbook room and then having to be in my scrapbook room. So that probably plays into why I struggled with this as well. I will also tell you that I did take a small break right after this layout. I think I completed this layout on a Thursday, and then I took the Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. I was just like, I just need a break from not being in my scrapbook room, not editing videos, not doing anything, just taking a break from everything. And that did help a lot. I was able to come back, and I did come back very stressed out about the fact that I felt like I was then behind, which is the vicious cycle of this. So I know that there are people who put out daily videos, and I know you guys would love to have daily videos, but just know as a content creator, it is a lot of work to have daily videos. It's not just creating the layout, but the time to edit the videos, do the voiceovers, do all the things. Sometimes it is a struggle. And I feel like I have rambled a lot in this video, and I will tell you as well that I struggled with what am I going to say in this video, because I don't have a lot to say about Galaxy's Edge. So this is where you get my rambling. All right, so I've gotten the background black paper down. I added this 4x6 card. Again, I don't know if this is a good guy or a bad guy, or if this particular card goes with these particular photos. It just looks like a forest. It's a great contrast color between all of the other like neutral colors, white, black, gray in this layout. So that's why I went with it, because I thought it looked good. But honestly, could not tell you what that icon was that's on that card. All right, so then I'm struggling with putting Eli's photo down, trying to figure out where I want it. And this is where I'm like, why did I not matte this photo? And I didn't want to matte it in white because I had already matted the black paper in white so that it would stand out against the other black paper. So I pulled out the blue cardstock that I used on the far right-hand side as my border, and I felt like that would bring the two blues together, since I would have it on my far right-hand side, and then I would matte the photo on my far left. Eli was also very much wanting my attention this evening, and he was wanting to make dinner later in the week, so he brought me his cookbook and was asking me some questions in regard to it. He has some cookbooks that are like out there. That particular one is a Jurassic Park cookbook, and he made some really good hamburgers from the cookbook, but the amount of ingredients that I have to buy to make this like one hamburger, it just is crazy. But he does enjoy cooking, and he actually wants to be a chef when he grows up, so I try to encourage that whenever he's like, oh, I want to cook something. He made dinner the week that I had created this. So now I've got the background part of the layout done, and I'm going to start to embellish. I added this fighter ship thing over on the far right hand. It was big. It felt like it filled in the space. But again, no idea what those things are. I have the sticker sheet as well as the foam adhesive and the adhesive brads. And then I also have one of the embellishment packs. And so I'm looking through all of that, trying to just figure out what can go on this layout. I did decide to make my title be Galaxy Hero. And I decided that I would put the word Galaxy up on some foam adhesive. Both of the words for the title does come from the sticker sheet. Then I found this sticker on the foam sheet that says the best day in the galaxy, as well as some planes. So I added that up to the upper right hand side. And then I found another ship, so I added that down next to my title. I do have all of the embellishment pieces on the page protectors, and I found these little triangles in all the different colors. I felt like by adding that, it would bring in all of the colors, since I do only have a little bit of blue, a little bit of red. So I felt like by adding the triangles, it tied all the colors together. I then found this embellishment piece that has like clouds and what I think is a sun. And so I added that to the top, but that meant I had to move the spaceships around a little bit so that it would look better with the die cut that's there. And then I went back to the sticker sheets, and now I'm just looking for some smaller pieces. I added a few stars. I also really wanted to add this Mickey head. So I did decide to pull up the triangles, add the Mickey head down, and then put the triangles next to it. So I moved the triangles over to the right a little bit. I did add this blue sticker down, but then I found a gun that I wanted to use, and I do decide to put that gun up on foam adhesive. And I also wanted to add the word pow pow pow, but that didn't fit with the word phrase, so I ended up taking up the word phrase, and I'm going to add the flight crew word phrase down. And then I was able to add the pow 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 right next to it, so it all kind of ties together. I then added a few more stars into each one of the clusters, just really trying to build up the clusters. I then pulled out the adhesive brads and added one brad to each one of the clusters as well. And then I pulled out my enamel dots in black, and I'm going to add a black enamel dot that has some sparkle to it, as well as a black matte dot to each one of the clusters. And then that is it for this video. Here is my final layout, as well as some close-ups. I did do my journaling offline, and it says, Star Wars Galaxy Edge is truly a unique experience, even for those who aren't deeply immersed in the lore of a galaxy far, far away. We do take advantage of the magic shots that Disney has to offer when we are there. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.